Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. I've told the story a few times. I'm sure, and as you tell it, right? It used to be so fresh, and I've got to say that I'm such good friends with Lex Luger. It's almost hard to tell the story now, even though that guy's so peaceful and so wonderful. I'm sure it doesn't bug him, but yeah, it was Sting and Lex had a gym. I didn't know Lex, right? And so when I signed my agreement, the first person I called was Sting. I said, Sting, I don't know anything about Atlanta. Where should I stay? And what's the easiest way to get to the airport? And blah blah blah. And he's like, man, there's a place where a lot of the guys stay called Le Parc Apartments at the time. And he said it's realistically you can walk from the apartment complex, the security and all that, but you can walk to Main Event Fitness. He goes, and the access road is perfect right on 285 to the airport. He goes, it's one of the best locations. And when you find out where you want to live in a house and all that, he goes, but you got a membership, of course, for life at Main Event, blah, blah, blah. So we moved there. Well, my fiance at the time, she had actually gotten her degree in facility design for health clubs. And so I called up Sting. I said, hey, would you mind if, my wife to be works at your gym? And he's like, no, got to go through the interview process and all that. But we'd love to have her here. I'm sure, Barb, Lex's sister, actually ran the clubs. So again, I don't know Lex, but it didn't take me long to really get to dislike this guy. I mean, he and I think it was a double negative because one, a lot of the guys did not like him. Now, let me say this: there's a lot of jealousy in pro wrestling as well, right? But the problem with Lex was he was a specimen. Uh, he was a freak. He was an incredible athlete. But man, his work ethic and his workouts and his diet. So I can't take any of that away from him. Just personally, he was one of the most arrogant people I'd ever been around in my life. Like, well, what was the name that Vince gave him up at WWE talking about, a person,
Narcissist.
like, brother, man, Lex hopefully called him and told him that because that was like Lex freaking Luger. And he just looked down on people. And the staff at the gyms just really didn't like him. I mean, just didn't like him. So it wasn't like, oh, Erik, what? And I didn't care. But then, hearing the wife to be coming home and da da da. So I was like, man, this guy is just a pain in the ass. And I worked out a lot with Buff, and Buff worked out a lot with Lex. So occasionally they would say, he'd say, hey, I'm gonna work out with Lex today. You want to come? And I worked out with Lex a few times, and yeah, he's just an arrogant person. And so uh finally a story came to me, and I was leaving WCW, and a story came to me about Pistol Pez Watley, and certain situation happened, and Liz and Lex had left and come back, and the locker room smelled bad, that there was personal locker room, and he was offended by it, and so he did all he could do to have Pistol Pez Watley fired. And here I'm going, Pistol Pez Watley is one of the better workers. He's busted his butt. He's given it up all for wrestling, the fans, and the business, and now he is putting up rings. you know, and that's not really where most people want to be at, right? And you mean to tell me this guy got fired? So I ran with the story in my head because I'm like, well, it got to be true, and that's just so Lex Luger. So, at this point, I don't know how many people want to verify it, but yeah, there was a call made to a friend of mine, DDP. I asked him to make a call to a guy that was the head of WCW at the time, not my father, and I said, I'm going to beat Lex's brains out at my last match, which was in Nashville, I believe. And then I had to leave immediately after that because I was going somewhere else. And so got there, and it was basically approved. Put it this way: the person said, "Hey, Erik has got a great future. I know he's leaving, but he'll want to come back. The key is do not allow Erik to attack him or confront him or fight him inside the building. He needs to do it outside of the building, or I can't protect him." And I said, "Okay." So I went early, waited, all excited. And of course, Lex comes late to the show. Now I'm getting my finish, getting my match. So I couldn't catch him out in the parking lot. So then I've got to be at the airport. I've got to get out of there pretty short, but I had about an hour I could wait till after the matches. So I waited out in the car for him in the parking lot. And to Lex's tradition, he didn't come out. So I didn't get to do it, and it frustrated the hell out of me.